Boundaries keep the good in and the bad out. Sometimes we have bad on the inside and good on the outside. In these instances, we need to be able to open up our boundaries and let the good in and the bad out. So, everybody's got baggage, okay? I don't care how good of a parent you have. I don't care how good of a person you think you have. You got some stuff in you that's jacked up. Because every parent messes up every kid somehow. It's an unavoidable fact of being raised by imperfect beings.
Sorry.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Every parent messes every kid up some way. Part of the transitioning from teenage to adulthood is figuring out what stuff your parents messed you up about and getting that fixed, so hopefully you don't end up transferring that onto your kids. Now, I'm going to get ahead of myself, but one of the things that occurred to me that happens, and is happening more and more, is if you think about what age people have kids now, more prevalently. They're having kids in their mid-teens, and they're doing good there. In your mid-teens, you have no idea what stuff in you is messed up yet.
Yeah.
By the time your kid hits 4 or 5, let's say you have a kid at 16, you're 20, kid's 4 years old, the messed up stuff that you don't know needs fixed yet ends up getting transferred to the kid who starts to think that messed up stuff is normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be grown, good and grown, and have kids, and you still, because you haven't grown up either,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
still
That's
transfer
more
some of
and
that
more.
stuff over.
Yep.
More and more.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If you are a messed up adult and you haven't confronted any of your adults, you think that everything that you do is right or everything that you do is somebody else's responsibility, you turn around and pop out a kid, that kid is likely going to inherit your sense of entitlement.
And sometimes if you had a kid at 15, 14, 15, they want to be a child sometimes.
Yep.
And then sometimes can't nobody tell them what to do because
Right.
they grown.
Right.
That's more or less what's going on now, and that's
Absolutely. So here's what ends up happening if you want to get healthy from that. The bad that's in you has to be let out. And the good that's outside has to be let in. So boundaries keep good in and bad out, but sometimes bad has to be let out and good has to be let in, which means that boundaries have to have gates. They're fences, not walls, is one of the things that Clown Thompson says. Your fence has to have a gate to be able to open up and let some stuff in and let some stuff out, or to close and keep some stuff out. Often people are abused when growing up, and they reverse the function of boundaries to keep the bad in and the good out. He gives an example. When Mary was growing up, she suffered abuse from her father. She was not encouraged to develop good boundaries. As a result, she would close herself off, holding the pain inside. She would not open up to express her hurt and get it out of her soul. She would also not open up to let support from the outside in to heal her. She would not open up to let support from the outside come in to heal her. In addition, she would continually allow others to dump more pain into her soul. Such people seek help for the pain they carry, yet they are often walled off from the support that's outside. They want to get better. They say they want to get better. The minute you try to help them, they snap at you. The minute you try to show them something different, they snap at you because their boundaries are built such that they keep the bad in and keep the good out. They've set up a set of walls and a system that they think works for them. This is particularly relevant where spiritual boundaries are concerned, as all disciples are engaged in a continual process of transformation. Here's spiritual boundaries. There is a strong tendency to hold on to the bad that has taken root in our spirits and resist the good that God tries to sow in us through relationships with His Spirit, His Word, and with His people. We set limits as to how far we're going to allow God or His emissaries, representatives, to engage our persons, and often protect the very thing from which we need to be delivered. So herein is the challenge of a good shepherd or a good pastor. to figure out how to get past your boundaries that are protecting the things at the core of you that need to change for God to sow into you something that is good when you've got a fence around it. And I don't get to, as pastor, kick in your boundaries. You have to open up your fences to allow certain things to be said to you that you might not want to hear, that might hurt, that might be uncomfortable. For me to tell somebody you need to quit tripping and specify how they are tripping when they don't think they're tripping, that's just what they do, and why you judging me? Spiritual boundaries. That's the challenge. This is also why it can be very difficult for people to build meaningful relationships. Their mental and or emotional boundaries remain or retain the pain of the past relationships and cannot entertain the possibility of any other experience with people. If you've ever sincerely tried to help somebody that's been burnt enough times and they are constantly on guard looking for the other shoe to drop, always seem resentful of the help you try to provide, always looking for another ulterior motive, never really seem appreciative, sometimes it's because they can't receive what you're trying to give them, what you're trying to show them, because they have walls that won't allow that to come in. And instead they're hanging on to pain. All the while saying they want to get better.
Yeah.
I know I need to get better. I know I need to do better. I know blah, 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 blah. The reason that they can't, in spite of their cry for help, is because they have not put a fence in their boundary or are not yet willing to allow that fence to be opened up. Instead, they are walled in and held captive to it. Gate, yeah.